Let me ask you something. How many times have you woken up in the morning full of intention, ready to get things done, and by noon, you've somehow accomplished almost nothing? You've been busy, you've been moving, but at the end of the day, when you lay your head down, you feel this quiet weight, like you spent the whole day running in the wrong direction. That feeling. The Stoics had a word for the root cause of it. They called it aya, a lack of self-discipline. And 2,000 years ago, men like Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca were solving this exact problem. Not with productivity apps, not with morning routines built around cold plunges and matches. They solved it with a way of thinking that restructured how they approached every single day. And today I'm going to walk you through it. This isn't theory. This is the actual framework these men used. And if you apply it, genuinely apply it, the way you work will never be the same. It starts before you even get out of bed. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the Roman Empire, would begin every morning with what he called the premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. Before the day started, he would sit in stillness and mentally rehearse everything that could go wrong. Not to spiral into anxiety, not to torture himself, but to inoculate himself, because he understood something that most of us never learn. The person who is surprised by difficulty is always the person most destroyed by it. Think about the last time something went wrong during your day. Your plans fell apart. Someone let you down. The work took twice as long as it should have. How did you react? If you're honest, probably with frustration, maybe panic. Maybe that familiar feeling of just wanting to give up and scroll your phone for an hour. Marcus Aurelius would have smiled, not because he was heartless, but because he had already lived that moment in his mind before it happened. He had already decided how he would respond, and that's the first piece of the Stoic productivity routine. Every morning, before you check your phone, before you look at your email, you spend 3 minutes asking yourself, what could go wrong today, and how will I meet it? You're not catastrophizing, you're armoring up. Now, here's where it gets practical. Seneca, one of the wealthiest and busiest men in Rome, was obsessed with something he wrote about constantly in his letters. He said, and I'm paraphrasing here, that the problem isn't that we have too little time. The problem is that we waste the time we have, and we spread what's left too thin across things that don't deserve it. He had this concept he returned to over and over. Vindicare CB. Reclaim yourself, reclaim your time, reclaim your focus. And the way you do that is by identifying every single morning the one thing that if you did it today and nothing else, the day would be a success. Not 5 things, not a 27-item to-do list, just one thing. Most people build their days around what's urgent, what's screaming, what other people need from them. The Stoics built their days around what was important, and those are almost never the same thing. So, step 2 of this routine is simple but uncomfortable. Every morning, you decide your one essential task, the thing that moves the needle, the thing that, if left undone, makes tomorrow harder. You write it down, you protect it, and you do it first, before the emails, before the meetings, before the noise of the world gets a chance to swallow you whole. There's a concept in Stoicism called amorati, love of fate. Nature borrowed it later, but the Stoics lived it first. It means not just accepting what happens, but actively embracing it, seeing every obstacle not as a wall, but as material. Marcus wrote in his private journal, and remember, he never intended for anyone to read this. He wrote that the impediment to action advances action, that the thing in your way is the way. Centuries later, those words would echo through time, reaching millions. But Marcus was writing it for himself, in the quiet hours before dawn, trying to become a better man. Here's how this applies to your productivity. Every day, something will interrupt your work. A phone call, a fire to put out, a wave of exhaustion you didn't expect. Most people treat interruptions as the enemy of their productivity. The Stoics treated them as the practice. Every time you're pulled away and you choose to return calmly, without drama, without self-pity, you are strengthening the very muscle that makes everything else possible. Discipline isn't built in the perfect, uninterrupted morning. It's built in the moment you choose to come back again and again and again. Now, let's talk about the end of the day, because this is where most productivity systems completely fall apart. Epictetus was a former slave. He had nothing. And yet, the philosophy he developed, the teachings he gave to his students, formed the foundation of how Marcus Aurelius ruled the most powerful empire in human history. One of the things Epictetus drilled into his students was the practice of the evening examination. Every night before sleep, you review the day, not to punish yourself, not to beat yourself up over what you didn't finish, but to learn from it with honest, clear eyes. Ask 3 questions. Where did I give my best? Where did I give in to distraction or fear? And what do I do differently tomorrow? This practice, this daily reckoning, is what separates people who improve from people who just repeat the same day on a loop for years. Most people end their day by collapsing in front of a screen and numbing out. The Stoic ends theirs by becoming a slightly better version of themselves. Compound that over a year, and you're dealing with a completely different human being. Here's what this whole routine actually looks like in real life. You wake up before you touch your phone. You spend 3 minutes with the premeditatio. You imagine the friction. You decide how you'll respond. Then you identify your one essential task for the day, the thing that matters most, and you protect it like a fortress. Throughout the day, when interruptions come, and they will come, you treat every return to your work as a small victory, not a defeat. And at night, before sleep, you spend 5 quiet minutes reviewing the day with honesty and without cruelty to yourself. That's it. No complicated system, no subscription app, no 30-step morning routine that takes 4 hours to complete. Just the distilled wisdom of men who carried empires on their backs and still found a way to operate with clarity, purpose, and unshakable focus. The Stoics didn't believe productivity was about doing more. They believed it was about doing what matters with everything you have and wasting nothing. Not time, not attention, not the brief, unrepeatable hours of your life. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Confine yourself to the present, not yesterday's regrets, not tomorrow's anxieties. The present moment and what you choose to do with it. That's the routine. That's the secret. It was never complicated. It was just waiting for you to be ready to use it."